Hi, Carmona here again for Scattered Comics with the third in a series of videos on writing for comics. And this segment is going to deal with writing dialogue. And I often hear a lot of creative writers over the years, they said they're either really good at description or they're really good at dialogue, but not both. Well, for comic book writing, you don't necessarily have to be really good at description because the writing for that is a little bit different. You really just want to lead your artist to at least open the door for their own sort of creativity and imagination, how they're looking at a scene. Of course, by now, you've already got your story arc in the plot outline we talked about in the first video. You've got a good sense of what your characters look like, and you've started really putting them in your own mind through various scenarios that you're going to have them do, whether in the comic or outside of that. So you have, at least in your own mind, a good idea of what these characters are going to do given certain situations based on their personality that you've come up with, maybe their background, things like that. This is, again, all of the aspects of how your characters are going to engage with the world or even with one another. I want to take a closer look at how good dialogue really shapes a comic. And for that, I'm going to be taking a look at a couple of comics from some fellow scattered artists. One of them we're going to take a look at is Alien 101 Volume 3 by Eli Beard. You can see the cover there. And the other one we're going to take a look at is James Burton's Damage Inc. Meta Hunters, and we're going to take a look at a couple of these. Just to set it up real quick. So in Eli's book, the two characters that I'm going to be taking a look at here on this particular page are Manuel is the Manuel Mitchell Mann is the main character of the book. And the particular scene we're looking at is when he's with Matthew Thumbson, his friend from middle school, and they're going to be going downstairs to take a look at this this tape that or a movie that his mother is not letting him look at. And of course we've had friends like that who for one reason or another have this sort of illegal sort of contraband that their parents aren't aware of. So we're going to take a look at that scene. And in Damage Inc. Meta Hunters, we're taking a look at more of a supernatural situation. Of course, that's what this group does is they go after these sort of supernatural instances, and of course looking at bounties and that sort of thing. But importantly, in this particular scene, we've got a couple of competing sort of aspects to solve the situation, and it deals with a siren-like creature. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at a couple of those works and how dialogue works for each one of the situations that the artists are presenting, and then I'll come back with a few final thoughts on why each one is effective in its own right. In this scene from Alien 101, Matthew is trying to distract Man with a video, and like Man, we're kind of curious too, but it turns out to be a robot battle with Matthew giving a nice tongue-in-cheek exclamation at the end. In Damage Inc., Cole has just jumped in the water and Kuda and Gage go to the rescue their comrade only to see him in the embrace of a siren creature. Instinctively, Kuda starts blasting away at the creature and Gage is telling him to stop because he might actually hit Cole. So a couple of things to unpack there. First of all, with Alien 101, we have, kind of a humorous situation with two characters who've known each other for quite some time. Again, we have the moment at the end there where, Matthew has, I think, probably the winning dialogue piece in there. It's like, take it off, right? Which again it suggests that it's something racy or that kind of a situation, and it's kind of anything but, and Man's kind of looking over at him saying, really? Okay. And so the humor works really well there. The fact that these two characters have known each other since middle school also adds that. They know each other very well. With Damage Inc., again, you have a team situation, right, going after the paranormal and the sort of unexplained sort of thing, but each character has their own distinct personalities, and of course that ends up getting them into trouble sometimes, and it certainly does here, where you have one character who's, listen, let's regroup, let's really think about this, and another one, Kuda, of course, just wants to blast everything up, destroy the creature, and sort of save the day, if you will. So taking a step back, right, the development of these characters really helps to drive their dialogue and the things they say given certain situations. So my suggestion at working with dialogue, the way to really get dialogue is once you've got your story, you've got your characters, you've got your dossiers, and you've got some information about who they are, is start role-playing with them. What if these characters showed up at a family event that you have or have had? What would be some of the things they would say? What would be some of the actions that they would do? So go through some of those things. Do they have a particular dialect that contributes to what they say? Are there any catchphrases that they use frequently that'll also have an impact on dialect? Start going through these scenarios and start writing some of these things down. Again, these are things that may or may not find their way into the comic, the script, the final product, any of that. But again, it gives you a better sort of like practicing and sort of warming up for what's actually going to go into your script, is doing those little exercises. I think role play is a really good way to do that, especially if you're role playing characters that in some ways are people that you've actually met, that you like a particular person or you're a friend or something like that, and you want to kind of put them into that character. Borrowing that kind of dialogue, borrowing their dialect if they have one, borrowing those catchphrases if they use those, is a real good way to do that. You don't feel like you have to create necessarily completely unique dialect situations. There's plenty of fantastic examples in the real world that can work themselves into your comic script. So that's all for this video. If you look on the right side, you will see some of our scattered artists, including the two that I mentioned in this video. Eli has a channel you can take a look at, as does James. Should be on the right side of your screen. You can check them out for the projects that I've featured here, as well as the ones that are coming up for them. We'll continue this series. Next time we'll be taking a look at script writing and how to really start putting this all together in a proper format that you could sell to a major comic book or some of the more independent ones like the one I work for at Scattered Videos. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Thank you everybody for watching our video. Please check out these other cool videos you see on your screen. You can help Scattered Comics and its creators by going to the description below and purchasing any of our cool stuff. Give our video a like and don't forget to subscribe.